But the weird thing was, he also had a criminal record. And the most exciting charge that I found was that he had been arrested in front of the state, and this is not a joke, he had been arrested in front of the state capitol of Texas, the state capitol building, with a samurai sword, naked. Not a joke. And
Oh my God, wait a minute.
So you appreciate the ensemble because he wasn't naked in front of you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Behind the Lockbox. I'm Stephanie Zalowski here with
Cameron Barbier.
And today we are sitting down with George Daglas. Damn it.
Daglas.
Guys, we just did this intro like 4 times and I've effed it up every single time. Okay. I'm just not going to say your name because clearly, you confused me with the Douglas.
That's on me. That was my fault.
Daglas.
Nicknames have always been Dags, so if you just want to go with
Dags. I'm just going to call you that from now on, okay?
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, he is an agent with Greg Noonan and Associates at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, California Properties.
Throw a couple more words in
Is
there.
that it?
Well.
Yeah,
Did I get it? Matt Tovey. Well, Matt Tovey tried to get it, and then he messed it up, and then, so anyway. Yeah. All right. You've been in business since 2015 when you moved here from Chicago.
Yes.
Shout out to Chi-Town.
Great city.
He's a gem to do deals with. An amazing agent. George, welcome to Behind the Lockbox.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Excited. Pumped.
So when you walked in, we were kind of chatting about some stories that you had. Where do you want to start?
Well, I guess the beginning, I was born in Oklahoma. No.
You mean you were born in...
Oh, God, how do we read
I know.
that?
Yeah.
You were born in Greece, and your dad used Windex all the time. Big fat Greek wedding.
That is my existence.
In the flesh.
It's my biography, actually. They just changed it to
I love it. I love it.
Well, we were talking about, how I've built my business and is really open houses. Because when I moved here, I didn't know anybody. So
Same.
I didn't have a sphere. Just go wing it at an open house. And
Totally.
figure it out.
Where you meet some great people.
Very interesting people. A lot of great people.
Yes.
But a lot of interesting
where the stories come
people.
from. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I look back at how I handled things differently when I first got in the business, when I was you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
To now where you meet somebody
You're
who's a fake and you're like, all right.
Okay.
Here we go.
See it coming a mile away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've had some good ones, and I probably my biggest one was, it was actually, me and Ross were both at another brokerage. So when I first started, Ross was there, and he was super helpful.
Yep.
But he would let me hold open all his listings.
Yeah.
So I was 6 months in holding open this oceanfront $14 million home.
Amazing.
And I remember this old couple came in, and they were super friendly, super nice. And they said they'd been looking forever, but they really loved this one. And
60s, 70s?
Probably
80s?
early 70s.
Okay.
And just the nicest people.
Okay.
Just super big sweethearts.
Yeah. And you're like, sweet.
Yeah. Do you have an agent?
Yeah.
Didn't have an agent, wanted to work with me, all that.
Wow.
And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, $1 million listing is happening.
Yeah.
It's real.
It's real.
Been here for 2 days.
The dream.
Yeah. And there's this whole story of, of course, the money's tied up right now because he's starting a business it was some sort of factory in China, and his partner was there signing the documents. And once that happened, then the money would be released and he could buy a home. And it was this whole big story.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. And
We've heard this song and dance before.
Yes.
Oh man.
It's an Anna Delvey, The Wire's Coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he and his, I don't know if they were married or not. I think it was just they were together. But
was she similar age? Or much younger?
Same age.
Okay.
And one of the things, they were so sweet because she was she couldn't really see well. So he's walking around the house and I was oh, look at this couple. They're so nice,
I love.
She loves old people.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
And they came back to see the house 3 times.
Wow.
Really like the house.
While you were holding it open, or with you, they made an appointment with you?
They came back 2 weeks in a row to see it, and they'd asked me, can we see it? And I said, I'm holding it open on Saturday or whatever.
Come on by. Sure.
And then they came back for a private showing as well.
Okay.
And it got to the point that they even, they wanted to sit down with me and the listing agent because they wanted to make an offer, and they wanted to show their business documents to show that it was real.
Okay.
And all this stuff.
You're seems promising.
Yeah.
And I remember what the woman said when they were talking about, should we make an offer? And she looked at him. I'm being careful not to say names. She looked at him and she was like, well, we better figure out getting that money out of China, and so that just stuck in my head.
Yeah.
So we sit down, have this meeting. And again, it was with Ross. So go through this whole big thing. And we wrapped the meeting up.
I feel like it was a good thing to be with Ross too.
It was.
He's so patient and
totally.
Yeah.
I think of some of the questions I asked him, like, and I'm like, how did you not go, what?
Yeah.
Like, and he was always patient answering
Yeah,
stuff.
he is.
So finish the meeting and like go back into his office. I'm like, so what do you think? You know, I mean, I know, is there any chance of making this work? And he looked at me and goes, George, I don't think those people are real. And he was like super, you know.
He knows.
Yeah.
But he wanted to like break it to you.
Of course,
gently.
he was like,
Yes.
listen, because I was like, you know, I'm excited. This
Yeah,
would be my first
course.
deal. Like, I'm going to come here and, you know.
I know, oceanfront, like, are you kidding? Like,
Yeah.
yep.
So, you know, and I don't remember exactly how they like tailed off. Like, I mean, I kind of stopped. Like, he explained why and showed me different things. He's like, you know, this isn't how a business proposal like this would work and all this stuff.
I mean, he's lived 9 lives, so he definitely,
has.
he knows. Yeah.
So, you know, moved on.
He really has.
Like, they kind of stopped, you know, following up, obviously, because it looked like they were fake. And I think I started looking him up and found there was some website like scammer.com or something like that, and found his name. Nothing big, but it was like somebody said he had hit their car and then run off and didn't have insurance, something like that.
Shit.
So-
You're like, okay, well, he
Yeah.
gets in car accidents, but he could still be real.
He might have money.
The money could still be coming.
Yeah. So fast forward, like I was on Greg's team now, and I was at First Brokerage 4 years, moved over. So it's probably 5 or 6 years later.
Okay.
And holding another oceanfront listing open.
Okay.
In Bird Rock.
They did not walk in.
And they walked in. The very same couple walked in, and I was like,
Did they recognize you? Did you know them immediately?
Immediately. Right off the bat, I was like, no way. And I almost said something. I was like, let's just see.
Let's see if they.
Let's just see.
I'm a little more muscular now, a little wiser, a little better looking. You know, let's see if they remember
Yeah.
me.
And I mean, thank you. I am. But,
Matt Tovey, we have a story for you about this later. Anyway,
it's gonna hurt your feelings.
sorry.
So
We love you anyway.
So we're walking around the house, or they're looking at it. I'm kind of like, I'm like, what's going to happen here? Like, now I'm more experienced.
Do you guys remember me or do you not?
Well, but I was thinking about doing that, but I was like, I want to see what happens, because if I might
That's what they
ruin
try
it.
They give you the same song and dance, and like
They did.
Shut up.
So they walk around the house, and the exact same story.
Can she still not see? Is she blind?
Yep.
And he's like taking her around.
Yep. And
This time she has a cane and like
they
a dog.
had said the exact same thing the first time. They walk around, they go, you know, we've been working with this off-market property up the street, and we were about to make an offer on that, but we like this one a lot better. And which was the exact same thing they had said last time.
5 years ago. That's exactly.
And then the woman looks at him and she goes, we better figure out that China money. And I was like, no way.
So what's the point of them doing this?
That's the thing. And that is something that rings in my head whenever every once in a while I think about them. You know, and it rings in. I'm like, where was it going? What was the goal? Because I don't know how, like, you're not going to get into escrow on it without money of any kind. And then how are you going to scam money out of it by getting into escrow in that fact?
I've never understood
get
the
it.
end game. So we just sold the property here in the Shores, the tear down. I don't know if you ever remember seeing that on the market. We had it on the market for a year and a half, something like that. You know, and really early on, because we took the listing in like March, Ross, Brett, and I, and then there was some stuff going on with the family, so we had to like wait for a little bit, and then we put it on in July. And if you remember, a year and a half ago, that's when really the market just completely shifted overnight.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh crap. So we get through the summer, September rolls around. So we've only been on, I don't know, 2 months, something like that. We get 2 offers actually. One was actually my buyer. Another one, an agent came through and she had been FaceTiming with him. And you know, she said, look, I've been working with him all through COVID, trying to find him something. He owns properties here. You know, he sounds super legit. But what I said to her was, look, I don't really feel comfortable at this point of like going into escrow with someone who's never seen the property, right?
Yeah.
But we do. He sends us proof of funds.
I'm completely uncomfortable, but let's
try it
go for
anyways.
Wasn't totally my choice, but anyway, whatever. I wanted my buyer, of course, but that didn't happen because this guy, of course, we countered both of them back and he came up to exactly where the seller wanted. So I'm like, look, it's in escrow. That's all I care about. I don't care. He's been on FaceTime multiple times. I've talked to him, you know, a few of us have talked to him at this point at the house on FaceTime. Like I see him. He's a real person, right? We get into escrow. He does an inspection.
So he pays for one.
Well, yes, but we open escrow and, you know, 3% is supposed to go in and we opened escrow at like $3,250 or something, right? 10 grand goes in. listen, I'm not great at math, but like I know that's not 3%, right?
I got a zero. It's just-
A couple of them. So I was in a couple other numbers. So we tell the agent like, hey, look, and we were going into Labor Day weekend. So we're like, look, he's got to get the money in. Tomorrow's Friday, Monday's Labor Day. Get it in Tuesday. And she's like, well, the inspection is happening Tuesday. Like, don't. And I'm like, okay, well, if he's still doing it, he'll get the money in, right? Things start moving along. He does the inspection, and the money that following Friday, the money is still not there. And we get an email that looks like it was done on a typewriter or a DOS system. For anyone who doesn't think I'm old enough to remember, I remember. And it's like, there's no footer, there's nothing at the bottom, like, and it's from his money guy. And like, he can't get into the account, but the money's coming. And so it was a whole, like, the wire's coming. The wire's for 2.5 weeks. This went on. He did the inspection, and then he slowly stopped answering her calls. And he never gave us the inspection report. He never got more money in. And we ended up canceling him because he then wasn't performing. So we just did the notice. And I felt so bad for the agent, and he went dark on her. She's never talked to him again.
But why?
She worked with him for 2 years, this poor girl.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Through COVID, trying to find him something. He also said he owned like 10 or 15 properties here in San Diego. I had 3 different title reps pulling stuff in any alias I could think of. Look at nothing.
That's terrible.
Nothing. Right. Now, look, if it was in some crazy trust, I would never be able to find it, right? Like you would never know what it's under. But what was the point? And by the way, he didn't even answer the phone call to take the 10 grand back. We were like,
so you left the 10 grand?
No, we ended up just sending it to the last mailing address that was like on the documents. Escrow's like called them like 16 times, and they were like, sir, would you like your money? I'm like, just give it to me. I'll take it. Like, I need the money, and no one's ever heard from him again.
He died.
No, because like he was like sending her text messages, and he was like, I'm not giving them the inspection report. Like he was there. He just then completely eventually went dark on her. But it was like, what is the end game? And we've had other oceanfront properties where people have come in and done the same thing and given us proof of funds, and we're like, and immediately, Brett, Ross, whoever, we find out that they're fake. I mean, it happens to a lot of us, and I'll never understand.
Maybe they get off on it, like people with feet.
I think that's what it is.
Circling back to OnlyFans when we weren't rolling earlier, or maybe we were, and Max was like, no, yeah, you guys are recording.
Well, that's what I never understand. Like, what's the goal? Like,
I don't know.
Because I've had other people, now I'm more experienced, but I had somebody last year who I'd met at a couple open houses. Again, super nice couple.
Yeah.
And this lady, they were saying they were going to make an offer on this house, and then she went dark and then came back. It was last Thanksgiving, I think. And then she came back and said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not answering. I've been in the hospital for several days.
What are you going to say to that?
With COVID, and I'm just like, I'm sorry to, I'm like, maybe I'm like, sorry to hear that.
Right.
And she even sent me a picture of like a blood pressure monitor and stuff. I'm like, when I saw that, I was like, all right, this isn't real. And then she's like, you guys have been waiting long enough. We know we should negotiate, but we're just going to offer full price. And, I'm going to call my money guy on Monday and move the money and have him move money around. And I was like, what are we doing? Like,
it's so bizarre.
Like, did she have a folder of like pictures from hospitals?
Well, that's what I want. And I actually, I took that picture and I did a reverse search, on Google. I was like, I wonder if this is like just some stock
Was
image.
it?
No, it wasn't.
Damn.
Oh.
In my mind, it was.
Yeah,
you just edit that part out. That's not exciting. But I never get it. I don't understand why.
We've never understood it either. And again, they sometimes fully get into escrow.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
but maybe this is like they're saying they go on the weekends and it's like a couple and they go home and have sex.
That I can, ew.
Well, I don't know.
God, ew. And they were like pushing 80. Ew.
Just dropping it out of nowhere.
Jesus, Cam.
Sorry, you were thinking it.
This is why she's my co-host, I actually wasn't thinking it, but now I am. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's great.
Oh my God.
Money guy.
I mean,
Code for
money guy.
kinky.
It's insane. I know. Anyway, well, I'm sorry that didn't work out.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. All worked out.
It's a good story.
Behind the Lockbox is sponsored by Property Showcase Group. Property Showcase Group has a team of creatives, directors, producers, editors, marketing specialists, and designers that work in tandem to tell and share stories of the built environment. Whether you're looking for full-service production or simply just need content creation, Property Showcase Group can help take your business to the next level. To learn more or to contact Property Showcase Group to schedule a consultation, you can find them at propertyshowcasegroup.com. That's spelled PROPERTYSHOW CASEGROUP.com. PropertyShowcaseGroup.com. I'm okay. Yes,
You know?
it is a good story. It is a good story. Okay. That's kind of open house stuff. There was another one that you walked in on something or found something?
Yeah. So, and this was again back in the beginning of like the first year or two.
I feel like that's when all the good shit happens, you know?
Yeah.
Because now we're like, oh, I don't find anything fun anymore.
Yeah. Now you're just like
all real life.
You're just like jaded. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, nothing surprises you. If someone jumps out, you're like, oh, a squatter. Okay, get out.
Escrow cancel after I fixed the fridge. I don't know.
okay.
You know?
Here we go again.
So, and it was if I remember right, it was a rental listing.
Okay.
And I was going to show this rental property, and it was an online lead. I don't remember exactly the platform it came from, but
Okay.
I hadn't met these people or anything like that. So I'm texting with them and talked to them and said, hey, we're going to meet at the property at this time.
Sure.
So, I'm eager, and I get there early to make sure it's all opened up and everything.
Right.
So I go upstairs, and it was here in La Jolla. It was down on, I think it was on,
Okay.
that's where it was. So I go in.
So not in a sketchy part of town.
No.
Yeah.
And go upstairs, and I knock on the door, check to see if anybody's home.
Because the door was
The door's
closed
closed.
to a bedroom.
No, to the
To the unit.
To the
unit.
unit.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I get
okay.
up to the unit, and I
Okay.
knock on the door to see if anybody's home, make
Right.
sure it's vacant.
Right.
And wait a minute, nobody's there. So I get the
Unlock
key,
it.
unlock it. I open the door, and there's a couch. The back is facing me, and there's a TV on the wall, and there's a guy sitting on a couch with his back to me,
Okay.
and he had no shirt on. I don't know if everything else was on, but he had headphones on, so that's why he couldn't hear me. So I'm open, I'm like, and for a second I'm like, oh, I don't want to scare this guy, and then I look at the TV, and it's
Oh God.
and it's the pool scene from Wild Things with
Shut up.
yeah, and I'm like, I'm sitting there, and it takes me a second. I'm like, and
So it's not exactly porn.
yeah, it's not. I mean,
but
it's
the
but
legal form of porn for
Yeah.
a movie.
so I'm just
no.
like, oh my God, and I'm like, what do it?
He had
And I just
he had like
headphones
these
on.
type of headphones on.
yeah, like they like
Like what
it
we're
had-
wearing.
Yes, and I have no idea why. Like, why would you do that? It was the strangest
And you
thing.
couldn't hear the TV?
No, so I couldn't hear, but it was playing. Like I could see it, and I was like, and I'd seen previews of it. I've never watched that because that's just inappropriate. So
His wife might be watching.
yeah, I swear, babe, I haven't. So I just grabbed the door and closed it really quietly and left. And the people were out in front of the building. I was like, I'm really sorry, there was an issue, and the tenant can't, leave the property right now.
Did you see what was happening?
I didn't see
Okay,
anything, thankfully, because it was like,
can
like I could see
imagine.
his shoulders and his head, and he was a bald
shirtless.
guy, yeah, shirtless. But I don't know if anything was going on. But it was one of those things, especially like you're brand new, and it's like, did I do something wrong? Do I have the right time? Am I going to get in trouble here? What happened?
Well,
What's
right,
going on?
and especially, I mean, imagine like the humiliation of like you being like
Yeah. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
from
Hey,
behind.
can we get some pants on?
Yeah.
Can you wrap
Can
this
you
up?
hurry up
Can
here?
you?
Place is $4,000 a month. Let's get moving.
Was it a tenant that was living there? It must have been.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a tenant, and frankly, I can't remember. I mean, I'm sure I followed up on it, like, hey, there was a tenant there, so I wasn't able to show it. But
Right.
like, I don't remember, and I don't think it was like a listing of our brokerage, so I don't think I knew the agent.
Yeah.
So it was like,
What do you can't be like, hey Ross, why is
hey, do you want to go over there and get the bald guy out?
he would have, by the
Yeah.
way.
You're like, what? I told him to leave.
He would have been like, he would have went there and been like, hey man, pants on, let's go.
Is he watching that movie again?
Again,
Yeah.
every time I go over there.
No.
Oh my
So it was
God.
awkward. Yeah, it was a little awkward.
But thank God he never saw
I
you.
know.
You just
I
like
know. You were able to.
close the door.
Sneaky.
Like,
Super
Very sneaky.
Yeah.
Thanks to headphones.
Yeah.
It was awkward.
that's insane.
I know. I'm still wondering about these headphones. That's so interesting.
That's another thing that, and I think about that sort of like once a year or something that pops in my head. I'm like, why the headphones?
Why the headphones?
Maybe someone
headphones
else was home and you didn't want to wake them.
Yeah.
I've never thought of that. Wow.
Ew.
He was hiding it from his wife or something.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Terrible.
You would never.
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 Nope.
He's like, can I borrow these headphones when I go home?
Yeah, these are nice. What brand?
Can I get these on Amazon?
Yeah, send me the link.
Where'd you get these? Because that's like my favorite movie. I mean, I've never seen that movie in my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't even know what it is.
I don't.
Again,
You don't?
Wild
What,
Things?
when
What'd
did
you
that
say?
come out? In the
It was like-
80s or 90s?
It was like late 90s because what's the guy who was in he was in something about Mary, the
Ben Stiller?
no, the guy with the big teeth, Perry. No, not Matthew Perry. Anyway,
Oh my God, this could go on
this is
forever.
the
This
yeah
could
this
go
is
on
the moment where people
forever.
stop listening. 'cause
Yes,
they're
exactly.
Like, oh my,
they're like,
all
okay,
screaming.
George, like
They're all shouting the name of the actor.
into the while they're driving, listening. They're like, you idiots. We're like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And then I can picture everybody's face. That
Matt Tovey right now is just
Matt for sure is yelling at us in the car.
he just gets angry. That's how he is.
I mean, yeah, he's
So
such an
angry.
angry individual. Like, oh my God.
Guy needs eating Grammy.
Nicest
I
human.
heard you're his bodyguard.
I was told that this morning. Yeah.
All right.
And I
Does it
looked at-
pay?
Not well.
No.
I mean, he's selfish.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Better
He'll get you headphones.
buck up, Matt. Maybe he'll
Text-
get you
text him
way
the
to bring
brand.
it back.
Do you want to show your appreciation for George?
Headphones. He needs them. He's like, what are you guys talking about? Listen to this episode in 2 weeks. Thanks. Oh my God. Okay. I think we have time for one more.
One more.
Yeah. Max is nodding his head yes. Then
Probably
we have time for
probably
one
one
more.
of my favorites was actually just in the last like year or two.
Ooh, love it.
Actually,
Okay.
probably last year. It was I was doing an open house in the Beach Barber, a townhouse.
Yep. Okay.
And it was vacant.
That's
no
here in La Jolla, in case
furniture.
anyone doesn't
in
know.
La Jolla by Wind and Sea.
Wait, you said a open house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this gentleman pulls up, and the only reason I remember it is because it's bright green, like Kia Soul, or this little boxy thing, but it was this bright green car.
Oh God, gross.
Pulls up, and he comes in.
Such
and,
a car snob,
And,
gross.
and the image matters for the story. So he's
Yes, please,
probably
paint us a picture.
He's like probably 5'10". He has a hat on. He's 5'10". Bigger guy.
Okay.
Heavy.
Okay.
And he has a hat on that says like SDSU dad, and then
Okay.
like a plaid shirt. Very proper stuff. Khaki pants. Looks like maybe a businessman who's dropping his kid off at school.
Sure.
Until he gets a little closer, and then like he's kind of scruffy, and he had these big wraparound sunglasses. And behind the
Are we
sunglasses,
talking like visor sunglasses?
yeah, like what the baseball players and stuff wear, or the cyclists that you want to run off the road.
Is this another bodyguard
Ross?
of Matt Tovey?
Yeah, like what Ross would wear.
I don't know if Ross wears them, but
the big like mirrored almost like jobs. Yeah.
and a plaid shirt.
Just-
This is an interesting.
It was an interesting
choices.
ensemble.
Yes. Okay.
So and the reason I remembered that part is because when I looked at him, I could kind of see through his sunglasses. His eyes were really wide, like abnormally wide. So I had like a weird feeling about
you
him.
see
from
like
the
your
beginning.
reflection plus his wide eyes. You're like, this is a lot.
Creepy.
So start talking to him, hi, nice to meet you. What are you looking for? And he starts telling me how he's in town. He's looking for a place for his daughter who's going to be moving here. And he's one of these people, he starts like just way oversharing. And
Love it.
let me back up because first he had a very significant name, which I'm not going to say.
Oh, damn.
But the way he said it, and I'll use a different name that's kind of like along the same, like, because he walked in and he's like, John Thorne. And like he had a Texas accent.
Okay.
And he had a boots, cowboy boots too. That's right.
Wow.
So-
this is an ensemble.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
remembered the name really specifically.
Yeah.
So he's in the house. He's telling me about his daughter and how she got divorced, and telling me how her
Oh, boy.
ex-husband was abusive, just like
Oh.
oversharing
wow.
all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. Like,
Right.
I'm sorry to hear that.
But also, thank you for telling me, stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he somehow segued that into, as he's going through the house, talking about how much he loves it and he thinks he wants to make an offer on it, and he'd be cash and probably close quick and
From
all
China.
this. Yep. And then he segues into how these stories about how he worked on Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign and was a big donor, and that he toured the country with her and had actually run for president himself in a couple precincts on the East Coast and all this stuff. It just like goes off the rails. I'm like, what is going on?
Interesting.
And he starts telling this story, and it's a vacant house. We're in the living room, and he's across from me. He starts telling
Are
us.
there other people walking
No,
through the?
nobody else is
okay,
there. It's
so
just me and him.
So now you've got like his full attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he turns around, he's looking at me across the room, and he goes, and I'll never forget it. He goes, you remind me of one of Hillary's Secret Service agents. And I was like, really? And like, I'm not wearing a dark suit. I've got on like, I don't.
You really just have the bodyguard thing going for you,
Yes.
apparently.
This is a
Maybe
thing.
this is my calling.
Yes.
We're gonna have to revisit this. Okay.
How much do they make?
I don't know. Well,
Well, for
Secret Service, I
Hillary
think-
Clinton,
yeah.
probably a lot.
Yeah.
I'll make a call.
Please do.
I know some people.
We might have.
So-
Yeah, we'll help you.
He starts talking about he'd known this Secret Service agent, and he's like, and I told him one day, but he said to me, he's like,
I love that you're imitating his accent.
He
This
said,
is
"You're
the best.
Yeah, he's like, you're too handsome to be a Secret Service agent,
boy.
though. But that's what I told him, and I was like, okay.
Thank you.
And he starts walking towards me, and he goes, but I told him he just needed a scar, and I was gonna give him a scar, and I'm like, where is this going? And
It's turned.
and seriously, so as he's as he's getting closer, he starts reaching behind his back,
What?
and I'm like, is this about to happen?
Is he about to
Am I
cut
dying?
my face?
Well, I'm like, what's happening? So I remember
this is how it's going to end.
yeah, and I remember just thinking like, okay, and I'm like, wasn't even looking at his face anymore. I was just watching his hand, like
Okay.
what's coming around the.
For everyone, let me paint you another quick picture.
Yep.
You're 6'4",
Yeah,
so this guy's like 5'10". So you're
Yeah.
clearly, you've
Yeah.
got height on him, and
yeah,
and
at the time, I mean, I'm a
more
little bit leaner
fit.
now, but I was like 230 at the time, so I'm not
Still.
Yeah, I'm not like it's not like I'm walking around like nobody hurt me,
right.
But I'm like, what's
But
this guy
you're
about
probably
to?
backing up.
Yeah, but if he has
Yeah.
something in his hand,
Well, that's
you
the
don't have
thing. I'm
that
like,
thing.
what's he pulling out of his pocket?
So he's
Right.
reaching behind his back.
Yeah, so I like balled my fist up like I'm just gonna hit him if something comes out. Like I don't know what to do.
I'm never doing an open house again.
And
And this is why I don't do them alone anymore.
well, and this is the thing. Like I say to people sometimes, like, be careful because there's weirdos out there.
Especially
Right.
for girls in the business. We've talked about this on other
Yeah.
episodes. Yeah.
So and his phone comes out of his back
Oh, my
pocket,
gosh.
and I'm just like, oh. And in my head, I'm like, I almost knocked you out, man. Like
Like you
what
can't you
doing?
can't be talking about giving people a
Was he
scar.
going
and
to show
then-
you a photo?
So he took his phone out to like send a text or something. But here's the thing. Remember I said he had a really specific name.
Yes.
Yes.
So I was like, that was weird. Like
Yeah.
he ended up leaving. I was like, there's something wrong with this guy. Like, so I Googled him.
Google, yes.
As we do.
So it turns out he actually had been on the ballot in a couple precincts in the eastern part of the states, like in 2004 or something like that, which you can do. Like you
Sure.
can.
I mean, anyone can.
You can get your name on the ballot if
Yeah.
you get enough signatures and stuff. So you
Right.
can do that. But the weird thing was, he also had a criminal record, and the most exciting charge that I found was that he had been arrested in front of the state, and this is not a joke, he had been arrested in front of the state capitol of Texas, the state capitol building, with a samurai sword, naked. Not a joke. And
Oh my God! Wait a minute.
So you appreciate the ensemble because he wasn't naked in front of you.
Are there
Yeah.
photos on Google of this?
what is with you and why would you?
Yeah, why would you want to see
I
that,
want
you
to put it on
weirdo?
YouTube. We
I
can
just-
block out some stuff, but we need it on the YouTube video.
I actually didn't
What
look.
is with you in photos?
I didn't look, but
Listen, George, you've been you Google reverse shit too. Like, I just
Yeah.
want to see what
yeah,
Thank God,
And
a
I-
Naked
samurai sword
with a
didn't come
samurai
out you.
sword.
naked with a samurai sword.
did he give anyone a scar?
No, I mean, it didn't say. It just like it was from a long time ago, so it wasn't like a news story or anything like that. I just found this like.
Was
you
he
know,
also in
this-
January 16th? Oh,
Well,
maybe.
he was a Hillary supporter. It sounds like.
So
probably
then, no, he
there.
wasn't there.
Maybe
Which
he
is
brought
funny.
a samurai sword
Texas,
to defend the Capitol.
There you go.
maybe so.
Maybe that's what we needed.
Samurai sword.
Yeah, guy with a samurai sword. It was.
What
It was one of
the
the
hell?
strangest things, and there were other like charges and stuff. I mean, he had done
So
some
he was
kind
kinda
of
telling the
creepy
truth.
stuff.
So I
too.
love that he ew, like what? Do you remember? Don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, there was like a sexual assault charge and stuff. Like he was genuinely not a good guy. It wasn't like
Good
he had done
Lord.
some things that.
What the hell was he doing in California? Well, he was an SDSU dad,
Well,
clearly.
here's the thing. I wondered. I was like, is this guy going to open houses because he's a predator or something like
Well,
that?
that's
Doing those things,
terrifying. I know.
And that's what I was.
And he
so
sees you, he's like, oh, there's no,
It was like, I'll just
I
tell this
can't.
guy about Secret Service.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was weird.
Oh
and it was
my
one of
God.
those times. It was like I knew it. So,
Yeah, I mean, listen, we always talk about this. Our gut is never wrong. And whenever I've had people walk into open houses where I'm like, oh, I got to take a call. My partner's on his way. And I just like walk out the door and let them do their thing. And then I'm like, I'm out of here, because it's dangerous. I don't think people realize how dangerous actually the situations we do find ourselves in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just in a
And-
random house.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
With guys watching Wild Things on TV with headphones on,
Which is also it was a good. Well, it's not. I don't know.
You just got busted.
Damn it. She's going to hear this,
So do you think when he was coming at you, like he was trying to like vibe you?
Looking back, I think he was trying to scare me.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to like freak me out or something.
Yeah.
I mean, does he have kids though? I'm a little concerned now. Like,
He probably just found that hat and was like, this would be great to go into open houses with
Well,
this
and
thing.
I remember it was a weird hat. Like it was a dad hat, but it was it was like this denim hat with this big red it was
not even like a real SDSU hat. He like stitched it himself.
Well, I kind of wondered because I was like, are they selling that hat? 'Cause that wasn't a good looking hat.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was
Who's buying
legit
that hat?
merch.
Yeah, it looked like a hat. If you couldn't see the letters on it, it looked like a hat that like a grandma would wear. Like it was like a very like big puffy red letters on a blue denim hat. It looked like,
So bizarre.
you know, yeah, it was really weird.
Wow.
He was an interesting guy.
Damn.
So anyway, he's still looking for a place. We haven't found him yet. No, I'm kidding.
I was with him the other day, and him
and Hillary.
He definitely did not have the samurai sword. So
He showed proof of funds. What else matters?
nothing. Even if it comes from China, that's
There
all.
you go.
That's all you need. That's insane. Those are great stories.
Yeah,
It
those
was
are really good.
Yeah,
I love it.
great times.
Great times.
That was a great day.
Was there any others you can think of quickly, or are they too long-winded? Because if not, we can play a game.
I love games.
You want to play a game?
Let's play
Love
a game.
games.
Perfect.
All right. Cam is going to ask you 3 rapid-fire questions.
Okay.
Just first things that come to your mind.
Oh boy.
This might also like incite some other stories too.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the craziest or pettiest thing that's ever killed or almost killed one of your deals?
Oh. There's so many. Probably. So it's funny because I remember like when I got into the business, people saying like, "Oh, I've lost a $5 million deal over $2,500 and stuff."
Which is crazy. I would never let that happen. We call that buying the deal. Like we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I had a buyer. No, he was selling. He was selling the house, and I guess it didn't almost kill the deal because he couldn't at that point.
Okay.
But he was a seller who I actually did 5 deals with.
Oh, wow.
And this was the last one I did with him, not because it went bad. He was still liked me afterwards. But it was literally the close of escrow day. And the buyers had to extend a couple times. He was really frustrated, which is understandable.
Yeah.
And it happens.
Yeah. And he called me, and he had said the day before, he's like, "George, if this isn't done by 5 p.m. tomorrow, like I'm done." And I was like, "I get it. That's fine."
Could he have sent a notice to perform at that point?
Yeah, he would have.
Okay.
I mean, it's still,
Then you got 2 days and whatever. Yeah.
So get to the next day, and I'm like, okay, is this going to happen? Is this going to close? And it gets to like 4:30 p.m. and it ends up like recording and all that
good.
stuff. I'm like, oh, thank God. And remember, this is the 5th deal I've done with him.
Right.
Buying
You
and
know
selling.
him.
Yeah, I've
Right.
known him for a few years at this point.
Right.
And he also, he was from Northern California, but he had done he wasn't an inexperienced buyer or seller at all.
Sure.
So I call him like, "Hey, good news. Like it all worked out. The property just recorded." So, and he's like, "Where's the money?" And I was like, well, escrow, they'll release it. You'll probably be, probably get it by like 2:00 tomorrow at the latest. And he's like, "I said 5:00 today." And I was like, "Well, yeah, but yeah, it's done. It's recorded. It's done." Like, and
It
he's
is
like,
done.
Yeah.
and he was like, "What if escrow doesn't send me the money?" And I was like, "Well, then they'd get sued. It'd be the easiest lawsuit you ever had, and they'd be out of
Exactly.
business." Like,
Exactly.
it's like
Doesn't work like that. Like,
it'd
you
be
will
like the
get your
bank
money.
not sending you your money.
Right.
Like, it doesn't.
Right.
It's like they can't.
It's like the
Yeah.
fat lady singing.
And
Yeah.
he lost it. Just blew up. Like, was yelling at me, saying he was going to call his lawyer and he was going to sue, and I better not turn the keys over to those buyers. And this whole just
You're like, well, I legally have to because they
completely.
legally own
Yeah,
it.
and I was like, well, they own it. Like
You don't.
I can't do anything about it anymore.
Oh my God.
So that was
he
probably
moved out and everything? Or?
Yeah, it had been an investment property.
Oh.
So it was like
vacant. And,
yeah, it was a
That's kinda
vacation
funny.
rental. Yeah, it was very and looking back on it, I realized that I think he was just high stress at times. Like he'd get really anxious about
Yeah.
stuff because there were always times during deals that he'd get stressed. I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just
Like, why is
basically
this-
you took the brunt of it because
Yeah, so I just listened. I was like, well, and then like he
you're like, you
literally-
can try to sue me, but you'll have your money tomorrow. Like,
yeah,
it's
and
not
he
gonna go
and he
anywhere.
had the money by noon the next day. And this is also somebody who told me later, like 3 weeks later when we were talking, he was like, George, he's like, I've bought and sold like 20, 25 properties, like, and you're the only agent I don't mind paying. And I was like, why were you yelling at me 3 weeks ago?
Stop yelling at me, Tom.
Yeah, I was like, geez, doing my best.
Did he apologize?
No, of course not.
Of course not.
Of course not.
I knew the answer to that.
Yeah, you did. I don't know why you asked,
I
but
know.
anyway.
I always
Okay.
hope
Yeah.
there's.
Oh, I've actually not heard that yet. Like normally they're like, okay, great, bye, and you're like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just cry.
Go sit in the corner and rock. Yeah.
Okay, what's the weirdest thing or situation you've ever walked in on?
Other than
Other
So
than
that
that.
one.
wild thing guy.
Honestly, I haven't had too many like weird things that I've walked in on.
I'm kind of sad about it.
I was thinking, like, when I've watched and listened to other episodes, and I've been like, what are my weird things that I've walked in on? There's not a lot,
I know. Same.
Yeah,
for
some
the
like
best.
gross stuff and things, like, but just like dirty houses where I'm like, how do you live in
Right.
this and things, but
Dog
nothing
poop
too
on the
well.
floor, like Ashley had to pick up, stuff like that.
Which, because she's not a dog person, so I loved hearing
She's
that.
gonna be.
I know.
Wait, and you're getting a doodle soon, right? We talked about this.
Well, it probably won't be a doodle. We're gonna get a dog.
Oh no, it was a golden retriever, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
we've talked about golden retrievers.
Yes,
I'm also
yes,
lobbying for other,
What kinds?
we're gonna get a golden retriever, but
You have to
Do you have a
pretend
name picked
like
out?
you're-
Do you want a boy or girl? Doesn't matter.
I think I'd prefer a boy.
Okay.
But again,
He's
like
gonna need
I love dogs.
He needs
so I
a
don't
human
really care.
name.
Yeah.
Like
So my wife wants to name him George. And I'm like, that's gonna confuse me. I'm gonna. No,
Oh
I'm
my
kidding.
god, I love her, George. What? They both come running.
It's like that way it saves me time.
She doesn't. When she's yelling at one or both, I mean, one of you's in trouble.
Get
Yeah.
off the couch.
Okay, you're on the floor with the dog.
Sorry,
I can see it.
It's my spot on the couch.
Get your headphones off.
Listen, if Gwen, my dog's, for anyone who doesn't know, I think everybody knows at this point. I have a necklace. My brother's rolling his eyes right now. Her name is Gwen, and if she was a boy, it was going to be Kevin.
Kevin. I was almost a Kevin. My grandfather on my mom's side
Maybe
was
his name
Kevin.
needs to be Kevin.
Yeah.
Or Josh.
I like that. Like we've talked about Charlie for a dog, which
That's
is
cute.
It's a good
That's
name.
cute though.
Yeah.
That's good.
But I
That's
also
good.
I think it'd be funny to just be like, hey, this is Bob.
Yeah, 100%.
And you're like, what? Or
100%. Yeah.
we were literally the other day talking about how we were walking down by the bay and there's dogs playing. And it was like, and we were talking about how many dogs are named George. And I was like, yeah, but they're always like kind of big derpy dogs, like a big lab who's, and when I said, I was like, it's like a big friendly lab who's, fun, but also like,
You're big and friendly, so it kinda
exactly.
fits.
Like, and he's a
Yeah.
few pounds overweight, and I'm not saying I am, but he's
You're
like,
not.
and he just loves food. It's like very treat oriented and
Well, that I understand. I mean,
knows
that-
everybody in the neighborhood who might have a treat, stops at the coffee shop. Hey, give me a treat.
So it really
Okay,
fits
that's
is
my
what you're
dog.
saying.
Yeah.
I think
My
it's-
dog should have been named George.
Yeah, but she's a girl. Oh, it could have been a girl.
But George is cute for a girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, either one. If when I get another dog in the future, I want another girl, and I'm going to name her Barbara, so I can call her Babs.
I like it. I like it. That's good.
It's a good one. So we'll help you come up with a good name.
If I get a dog first, I'm going to do that. So that's going to be awesome.
Okay, well then do
I'm
it.
just going to steal it.
Do it. Go ahead,
Fine.
and then they can both be Babs.
I thought you were
Babs.
getting a boy.
Okay.
dog.
Anyway, all right. Should we move on?
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay, if you could be anything other than a real estate agent, what would you be and why?
Oh, I'm really interested in this.
Independently wealthy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah. Well, growing up, I always wanted, I played college football. So growing up, I always wanted to be a football player. It was my
Okay.
thing. So like if I could just choose something, probably have been,
Been in the NFL.
Yeah.
What's your team?
The Bears.
Well, okay, duh.
Depressing.
Well, yeah, that is a little depressing for you right now. But maybe they'll have a comeback eventually.
Yeah, maybe.
In middle school, I got free homework if the Bears won. And they
Really?
never did.
Are you from Chicago too?
No, my teacher was. So
Oh.
she's like, what
Oh,
did I
your
say?
teacher.
No homework if we...
Yeah. We were thinking, we both were thinking
parents?
your dad.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
No.
Yeah, our teacher.
Yeah.
But they never
Yeah.
won, so we always had homework.
Yeah, they're not good. And they all screwed up. But yeah, I probably would
I
have been
haven't been good for a long time.
a football player or that's probably it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
After that
I
was
like that though.
yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, very exciting stuff.
Have we ever asked what you would be? Did we talk about this?
Yeah. Can we turn the tables?
I know.
We've talked about what I would do. What would you
Yeah, I
do?
know. Oh, well, yeah, with Bree
In the
was
first
on, it was
episode,
kind of like I wanted to
Oh yeah.
own a bunch of land and like
Yeah.
rescue animals.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually,
That made a lot of money while doing that.
I digress. If it wasn't, like if we're going to talk about a realistic
Yeah.
Right.
thing,
Sure.
because I worked on a cattle ranch in college
Interesting.
with my buddy Ryan. Shout
That's
out
cool.
Timberline Angus. I know.
Wait, where was this? In Illinois?
Yeah,
Okay.
west of Chicago, Northern Illinois
Okay.
University. It was DeKalb.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yep.
and so if I like just being out on the on the plains.
It is. I mean,
and all
there
that
is
stuff. It was
something.
fun.
Yeah, there's something really. Where did you live what town did you live in when you were there?
In DeKalb.
Oh,
That's
you
where
did.
The, yeah,
You
that's where
did.
the college
Okay.
is and all that
Okay.
stuff. And,
I was actually just there. Unfortunately, my grandma passed away like last year. It's okay, thank you. But we took her ashes to her burial plot and all that stuff, and it's in Thawville.
Thawville. Surprisingly, I haven't heard that. And I've been
It's a cornfields. I was like, where are we?
well, most of Illinois is cornfields.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you leave Chicago, you're like, oh, wow, this is all that's
Pretty much
there.
till you get to Denver.
You know what?
Actually,
You're
past
pretty
Denver.
much right about
It
that.
is.
Yeah.
It's 100%
Yeah.
right.
It's all the,
Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska.
middle America. Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. But let me be clear.
terrible.
The states are wonderful. The people are wonderful, but it's just boring topography.
It's plain. It's plain.
plains.
I'm
Yes,
going to meet some
exactly.
like $20 million client that's
Yes.
like, I'm from Nebraska. I just watched your podcast.
And you're
Now
like,
you're
and
not
he's like, and
Asian.
now I'm going to go with Stephanie because you said you didn't like Nebraska.
Yeah, but I'll tell them what you said beforehand about Nebraska.
I just love
Ba-dum
it so
boom.
much. Ba-dum-boom.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here and doing this. This was so much fun.
Thank you guys for having
Yes,
us.
thank
really
you.
fun.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. Behind the Lockbox is produced and edited by Property Showcase Group. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, or review this podcast. Thanks for your support. See you next week.